these dead X-Men are dealing with a lot. You have a crazy Moira that is literally murdering her way through the timeline to try to get back to her first life, which they kinda help make happen. The person that sent them through the timeline is trying not to get murdered by one of the most powerful beings that Marvel has ever created.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
My name is Dorian, this is SEM Comics. We are continuing our coverage of the Fall of House of X with Dead X-Men number 3. Our story starts off with our heroes getting pushed to a new timeline. You have Dazzler saying that she's still covered in Ultron oil. Now, if you're absolutely lost after I just made that statement, don't worry, your boy got you. Cards right there, links in the description to the playlist. And Jubilee's like, well, I still got Emma's blood on my hands, so perspective, Dazzler. And Dazzler's like, point taken. So the Frenzy's like, hey, quiet down, we don't know what timeline that Skyny sent us through. Skyny's Rachel Summers. Cannonball calls her Rachel Summers, I'm calling her Rachel Summers. So as they're walking through this corridor, they see Egyptian hieroglyphs on the wall, so that should give you an idea of where they're at. And as they walk through, they get to this chamber room, and they see that it's Apocalypse and Moira. This is her 9th life when she became the wife of Apocalypse. So Apocalypse is pretty much saying, who the hell let these people into our inner sanctum, and who do I gotta murder because of it? So Moira's like, isn't that Joanna Cargill, my king? Didn't she fail us years ago? And Apocalypse pretty much like, yep, I murked her myself. So these 5 are either imposters or they're unwanted visitors from another reality. Either way, they must be dealt with. Summon a host. And then our angel doesn't look at it by the face, but by the body type. And there's a whole bunch of them. Starts flying after our heroes. So Cannonball's like, come on, Rach, we ain't got time to spare. See? Rachel. And then she gets them out of there. So now we cut back to the Atlantic side of Krakoa that's in the white hot room. Eventually they're gonna have to address that problem. So then Jubilee's like, Moira Apocalypse, I guess she went a little bit off the rails in some of these lives. And then Prodigy's like, Rachel, send us out again. And Sam's like, calm down, dude. Like, we need a breather. She probably needs a breather. That's why she brought us back here. So let's chill out for a second. So Prodigy's like, problem with that is when I scanned Moira's mind, I didn't detect anything about the Dominion, which I thought that plan was kind of far-fetched to begin with. So I'm not going to try to get too deep in the weeds with this, but I thought the Dominions were like singular, like multi-universal beings. In other words, like there's only one above all. There should be just one Enigma. So if another timeline figure out a way to defeat Enigma, then the problem is solved. If you're still dealing with an Enigma problem, then nobody knows how to beat them. You need to figure out how to beat them. That's just my thoughts. So Rachel shows up in the form of a boulder with a face on it and fire for hair. So she's pretty much like, I don't think you realize how difficult this is. I gotta manage you guys, send you through the timelines, and also on this side, we're dealing with some hunter killers that Rasputin 4 is trying to keep at bay so they don't murder us. So then Frenzy's like, well, even if we don't find out information about the Dominion, we still need to go through the timeline and go through Moira's past life. So then Rachel's like, why? And then they explain the whole crazy Moira slashing her way through the timeline issue. So now that we see that the crazy Moira actually made it to the 10th life, which is a current life that we're reading about right now, and she sees Cyclops being marched in pairs up the courthouse steps, and she's like, I hope you fry, Summers. Hope you all fry. She also made it back to a 3rd life where she created a cure for the X gene. And if you guys remember Hox and Pox, that's when Destiny, Mystique, and Pyro showed up and had to have a little talk with her. So Rachel's like, so you trying to tell me a half crazy Moira is killing her way through the timeline and you decided not to tell me right when you found out about it? So Jubilee gets pissed. She goes, oh, I didn't realize that we had permission to kill off whatever threats we encounter. I thought the whole point of this was to create the least amount of tension as possible. Besides, you're the one that pulled us out of Ultronville and a pocket Egypt. So then Rachel's like, all right, look, I'm not mad. Actually, the reason why I picked you five is because I knew you guys wouldn't go all Terminator through the timeline. And there's no way that you could have predicted that a crazy Moira would be ripping away through time and space like this. So Prodigy's like, maybe not, but us being there changed how things were going to play out. So We need to do something about that. So then Rachel's like, things couldn't get any worse right now. We have a Dominion that we're trying to stop, but he's also trying to kill us. And then also too, we got Moira that's ripping her way through the timeline. She might make it back to when Professor Xavier is talking to Moira and might mess everything up. So then we see our crazy Moira has made it to her second life, and she sees the plane that her second life Moira boarded on. She goes, buckle up, lass, it's about to be a bumpy ride. I think that plane goes down, if I'm not mistaken. So we also see that she made it to her fourth life, where I think that's when she joined up with Magneto and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, if I'm not mistaken. I think that happened. I mean, don't quote me on this stuff. Like, Hox and Pox was a very long time ago, so I'm just trying to remember this stuff off the top of my head. So the Prodigy's like, that's why you gotta keep sending us back, because we gotta fix this whole crazy Moira issue. And then Rachel's like, did you miss the part that how it was extremely difficult for me to pinpoint these 10 lives in the first place, and also to do it while we're under assault? So then Mother Righteous is like, I can help, all you gotta do is let me out. And Rachel's like, no. Which, I wonder what they're gonna do with Mother Righteous. Like, they killed off Bargain Ben Sinister, so I wonder what they're gonna do with Mother Righteous. I did not come up with that nickname. That was Sebastian Shaw. He's an asshole, but he's also funny soul. And then that is a question that I have for you guys. I don't read all of the X comic books because I just do not have the time. I do work a full-time job and I have a family, so I can't read everything. But I know he made a deal with Xavier, and that's the last I heard of him. So I wonder if anybody dealt with him yet, or does he still need to be dealt with? Please let me know in the comments. So they're trying to figure out exactly how they're going to stop this Moira, and Rachel's like, we're trying to logic out the impossible here. I mean, we don't even know if she's even following the same set of rules that we are. So Jubilee's like, well, she's hacking and slashing her way, so why don't we just hack and slash faster? And Rachel's like, it doesn't really work that way. Besides, right now we're just playing Whack-A-Myra right now. In other words, we're just hoping that we pick the right timeline that she's happened to pop up in. So then Prodigy's like, well, she's trying to make it back to her first life, so why don't we just go to that one? And Rachel's like, well, at least that's something to aim for. According to Professor Xavier, her first life was pretty uneventful and then stretched for like 1,000 years, which is pretty crazy because in her sixth life that we're on right now, she encounters Wolverine, who is 999 years old. So Wolverine's like, I don't know who you are, but you're damn straight the Moira that I know. And the Moira goes, you would know better than most, especially in this life. So the Wolverine is like, if you're with the blue meanies that's keeping us locked up here, I'll send you back in pieces. And the Moira's like, you truly never change, Logan. It's comforting. And as much as I would love to stay in Gab, I'm getting awfully close to my destination. So I'll let you go ahead and enjoy the inevitable, old friend. So then Dazzler's like, look at the sky. It's not looking good here, Rach. And Rachel's like, it's not looking good anywhere. Enigma, Professor Xavier sit down with Moira, this crazy Moira, everything is starting to intersect. So then Rachel goes, speaking of Professor Xavier, he's been gone for a minute. If Rasputin 4 got the invaders covered, then I need to check on him. So the Mother Righteous starts talking that Mother Righteous She goes, Rachel Summers and Rasputin 4. Lost little girls with the weight of everything on their shoulders. And Rachel doesn't even bat an eyelash. She goes, Mother Righteous, a stuck in an egg. So Mother Righteous goes, fiery. Let us both hope, Ascani, that Charles and Myra's little play date achieves its goal. So now we cut to far away on Earth's moon. It could be the blue area, it could be the gray area. I just recently found out that there's a gray area. Check out Immortal Thor #2. Card's right there. Link will be in the description. You got Moira, who looks to be in some kind of coma, and you got the old school looking like a panther beast that's doing the evaluating on her. When all of a sudden the alarms start to go off and they're like, is there a signal attack? And they're like, no, it's too soon. We know it's our dead X-Men. And Dazzler's like, crap, there's no way this is Moira's first life. And Jubilee's like, this looks like Epcot on steroids. Then in the background, all you hear is, normally we would extend a warm welcome to any and all mutants. But after what the Sentinels did to us, we're not taking any chances. X-Men, defend your home. And this is Moira's 5th life. And the X-Men team here is led by Psylocke. You have Cyclops, who looks pretty crazy. I mean, he's spot on, one eye. You got Wolfsbane, you got Sway, and you got Banshee. So Banshee wastes no time and he hits him with a sonic scream. And then Dazzler goes, attacking a pop star that could turn sound to light. I guess we haven't had the privilege to meet in this lifetime. So now Cyclops is about to attack Jubilee. Jubilee's like, hold on, wait. We have no reason to fight. And Cyclops is like, I agree. I'm on one mission, to help my wife protect the squad that's here right now. And Jubilee goes, wait, hold on, time out. You and Psylocke are married? So as soon as Jubilee said that, Wolfbane took a strike at her. She gets out the way, but Sam comes and hits Wolfbane, and then they start jawing at each other because these two go way back from like X-Force when Cable was running it in like the early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s. So then Sway uses her powers to mess up Sam. So then Psylocke and Frenzy are going at it, and Psylocke's like, we just got wiped out last week by some Sentinels, and some of the people that died all of a sudden appear out of nowhere. How am I supposed to feel about that? So then Psylocke hits her with a psychic blast at the temple. You know that had to hurt. And Frenzy goes, go ahead, read my mind. And now you know we're not here to hurt you. So in the background, all you hear is somebody say, oh, you're here for little old me? And then Psylocke turns around and goes, wait, you're out of your coma? So Moira takes her axe and hits everybody with an energy blast and goes, oh, I am not the Moira you used to. She's a saint in comparison. Me, I am much more fun. We got one more issue left, people. How do you think this is going to end? Please let me know in the comments.